welcome back. So today is going to be a video that I didn't really ever want to make. Today is my 40 weeks pregnant, my 40 week bump date. So today is May 16th. It is my due date officially. I am now due. I'm overdue, or due today. I will be overdue shortly. Because I had the C-section scheduled for when I was 39 weeks and 1 day, anything extra just feels like I'm overdue. You know what I mean? I know that the fact that she flips so I don't have to have a C-section is great, but like I have felt like my due date passed a week ago. So that's okay. I'll just share a few stats with you. Still really swollen. My hands still don't work. My thumbs like don't bend very well. I'm having a lot of trouble like opening things, using my hands to do things. It's really affected me. I don't think I could live like this. Like if this was like a permanent type of disability, it's really hard. Like I have to have my husband open everything. I can't like stir, like hold things because my thumb doesn't work. And a physical therapist seems convinced that when I have the baby and the swelling goes down, add some anti-inflammatory medicine, that it will be all good. So I'm going to keep going to my physical therapy appointments, and then when I have the baby, I am pumping in those anti-inflammatories, which I did ask the provider, and they said they will be giving me Motrin when I have the baby anyway, so I don't even have to ask for it special. But hopefully after that, like, it might get worse for a day or two, and then it'll start getting better. So that's one thing. I'm so swollen. My feet are like visibly swollen. My back hurts. I am uncomfortable. I'm a little bit out of breath. I feel heavy. I mean, just the normal 40 weeks pregnant stuff that you would expect. I did have an appointment this morning, and I didn't even want to film today because I was like, I had no reason to like get dressed and like get my makeup done and stuff. Just went to the doctor's office down the street and then came back. But I went ahead and put my face on for you guys because I was like, this might be my last opportunity to film. And any more that I procrastinate, like I risk not getting up this video, and I didn't want to do that. So let's just talk about what happened at the appointment. We knew that I was at 38 weeks. I was not dilated at all whatsoever, and my cervix was 50% effaced. So it had thinned and softened to 50%. 39 weeks 1 day, I was 1 centimeter dilated and 60% effaced. And then 6 days later, today, the day I turned 40 weeks, she said I was 2 to 3 centimeters dilated and about 60 or 70% effaced. Still -3 station, which means she hasn't dropped that much, but she has dropped. She said, I can tell, I can feel her head. When I'm up there, like I can tell she's dropped. So that's good. Obviously she's not dropped enough. I'm not like in labor, but that's still progress, and that she's still moving in the right direction. And then while she was there, asked her if she was going to do a sweep. She's like, do you want me to? She's like literally had her hand inside of me when I asked that. I was like, yeah, I think so. She's like, okay. So I felt like this lady, average size lady, had like her entire body inside of me. Like, I don't even know. I didn't know that I went up that high. Like, I thought for sure like her hand was just going to come up my mouth any moment. She just kept going and going and going up there. And I was like, this does not feel natural. Like, I didn't even know. But anyway, she got up in there, and so if your cervix is like this all the time, it's closed, right? And then it gradually opens, and then she said she could get 2 centimeters in, 2 fingers in. This is totally TMI. If you don't want to see this part, just fast forward. But if your cervix is like this, she can get 2 in and wiggle them around. So there's like 2 to 3. And then she said, you know, for the sweep, they just kind of like clean out the edges, strip the membranes, which can bring you to start labor. Like 50% of women have no effect, and 50% of women within like 24 to 72 hours will go into labor. Now, do we know that that's because of the sweep, or do we know it's because they were already 40 weeks pregnant? No one knows. So basically what she does is she just stripped all the membranes. And when she pulled her hand out, here's another TMI, it was bloody. And I was like, she's like, that's normal for the rest of the day. You might have some spotting, you might have some cramping, might bring on some contractions. They don't necessarily have to be like labor contractions, but kind of stirring things up down there, so it could happen. And even if they aren't labor contractions, don't be disappointed. That could just mean that you're dilating a little bit more, or that she's dropping a little bit more, or that, you know, things are softening even more. So I'm like, okay. But if it worked, I should be in labor by Thursday, maybe Friday. I'm going to try to get this up Tuesday night, the day I turn 40 weeks, if not by Wednesday for sure. But I will go ahead and put in my belly shot. So this is week 9 from the left side, as I always show you. And here is week 40 today. I always like to show you guys week 9 first so you can see how far we've come, and I will be posting a belly progression video where I show you every week throughout, and I think that'll be fun. And I have my I'm in labor video ready to go. All I have to do is press publish on YouTube and it'll be live, so you'll know. Also follow me on social media if you want to know. But so of course the next thing we have to talk about is, well, when is this baby coming then? She's like, we are going to go ahead and schedule an induction for when you are 41 weeks, which is Tuesday, May 23rd. But she said, you know, you could very likely go in on your own. She said most women, I don't remember the statistics, okay, but she said most women go between 38 and a half weeks to 40 and a half weeks or something like that. And so she said you're right in that range, right in the middle of that. So like 40 weeks and 5 days would be Sunday, May 21st. And or we do the induction on May 23rd. And I asked her, so okay, what does the induction entail? Like, obviously I've heard about stuff on YouTube, I've done a little bit of research, but I wanted to know, you know, what should I expect? How long is it going to take? Because I've heard it can take several days. She said it really depends on where we're starting from. If you start from no dilation, no effacement, it can take several days, because first they have to soften, they ripen your cervix, get it softened, and then they will work on dilation, then they dilate you, and that can take a little bit. But she said if you're starting from like basically like 3 centimeters, 70% effaced like I am, maybe by the time we make it to that induction appointment, I'll be 4 centimeters dilated and 80% effaced or something like that, if I'm going at the same like rate. Who knows? I could be much farther, I could maybe go on my own. But okay, let's just say, she's like, then you're not starting from scratch. So it could take maybe 6 hours for the baby to come after that. It could take 12 hours, 18 hours. She's like, it just really depends. And then they gave me like a little pamphlet about like where to go and where my induction's scheduled and all that stuff at the hospital. And it does say in there, like, if you're having people come to the hospital for you, just make sure that they know that, 1, you know, it could take a while. 2, that they may bump you for the bed. So like basically I'm supposed to have my induction at 7:30 in the morning next Tuesday, but they say call an hour ahead of time because they may not have beds available, and they might just like push me to later in the day. Like someone who needs the bed, who's actually in labor, gets the bed over someone who's just kind of uncomfortable. So then I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so if I'm going to be having the baby on Tuesday, or before, we know that before I could totally go on my own. Let's just say I'm going to go have the baby on Tuesday. I was like, I think I'm going to take off Monday from work so I can just start my maternity leave on Friday afternoon. That would cost me 1 extra day time off, but I would start my maternity leave like 3 days sooner. So thinking about that, Friday could be my last day of work. I already thought that a week ago because of the C-section, so it's not like that crazy to me, but it does make me kind of want to wrap things up at work and do the transition process and, you know, get people up to date on what's going on in my project so they can pick up where I left off and things like that. Get all my documentation, all my ducks in a row, so there's no question when I'm out. But yeah, that's kind of interesting to see how things are progressing and what her plans are, the doctor's plans are. We don't know who's going to be actually doing the delivery, as there are, I think, 6 doctors at this practice, and there's 2 more that we haven't met that don't work at the location that I go to. It's like another location, but they deliver at the same hospital from technically the same practice, but they're just a different branch of it or something. So we've met 6 out of the 8 doctors that could be delivering our baby. And so other than that, like, we just wait. We like all the providers, and there's still a chance that one of them could be already in a delivery, and we'll end up having some random doctor. And honestly, I don't care. As long as they're like got all the credentials and they get the baby out safely, like, I don't care. At this point, I feel like when you like first start going to like getting pap smears and going to the girly doctor, you're like really picky about, you know, who sees you naked and like who does what. By the time you're at 40 weeks pregnant, you're like, just get this freaking kid out. Just get this kid out. And so at this point, I don't care. Like I said, as long as they have credentials and I'm safe, the baby's safe, I don't care. Baby sounded good. She was like 133 beats per minute, heartbeat. My blood pressure was just fine. It was like 120 over 70 or 125 over 70. It was like well within normal for being this pregnant. I have gained about 25 pounds now. I was hoping to stay closer to 20, but it's probably about 25. It really depends on what weight you go from the start, because today my appointment was at 8 something in the morning. Sometimes I go after work, so like I don't want to say exactly I gained 23 or whatever. I think it's more like 25 pounds I've gained, so that's not great. If we go by estimate of size, granted these are estimates, we know that they could be off. We had a scan done 34 weeks, 30 weeks, 34 weeks, and 38 weeks. And she was measuring 70th percentile, 68th percentile, 60th percentile, or something, you know, those, or they might be in the wrong order, but basically the 3 scans that we got, they measure the femur, the brain, the heart, or something like that. They measure different measurements on the baby and come up with an estimate as to how much they think they weigh. Of course, they could be out very off, and the baby could have just been in a weird position, yada, yada, yada. But if they also, if you go by the rate of growth, that babies grow about a half a pound a week. If that is true, then today she was 7 pounds, 7 ounces approximately when I was 38 weeks and 1 day. So she should have been about 8 pounds and 7 ounces-ish by now. And since it's been 2 weeks, 8 pounds, 7 ounces. And then if I make it to my induction date, she'll be just shy of 9 pounds. She'll be like 8 pounds, 14 ounces. If she gained exactly half a pound a week, we know that this could be completely off based on what she actually weighed when we started this measurement process or how much she gains per week. You guys get the point. She could be an 8 or 9 pounder. Woo, a little scary. I didn't care as much when I thought I was having a C-section, but now that I'm having a vaginal birth, I'm like, And I do know that there's a chance I could still have a C-section, but that's all right. So this last week I've had contractions several times at night. Always it's like 8 p.m. to like 11 p.m. I lay on the couch and then I start getting contractions and they're like mild. The doctor even told me, like, if you can walk through them and talk through them, you know, especially because I was telling her sometimes I can't tell when they stop and they start. She's like, those aren't real contractions. Like, there's something, they're Braxton Hicks maybe, there's something, but they're not painful. Like, you're not in labor. They're just helping your body progress. Your body's moving along towards being in labor, but it's not quite there yet. So I understood that. And because of that, you know, I don't call them, I don't go in or anything, but it happened on Sunday night and on Monday night. So by Tuesday morning's appointment, I was like, I have got to have some progress. Like, please tell me I have dilated somewhat or something has happened. But yeah, so this may be my last pregnancy update. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to know before I have the baby, please leave them down in the comments. Otherwise, we'll be doing a labor and delivery story. Of course, I don't know how much I'm going to get on footage. It just depends on who's there. Depends on when I go into labor. Depends on how I deliver. You know what I mean. So, but I'll definitely at least tell the story like I'm doing right now. Later. So, let me know down below in the comments if you guys have any other questions. And wish me luck. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.